Hello there, what up? How is it going? This is Daniel. Just thought I'd start this really lo-fi, casual vlog style to show people my Medaka, my rice fish setup. The rice fish community is starting to kind of blow up in the US, and I figured doing, this lo-fi video vlog style thing would be really cool just to show people my setup, what's working for me. I've only been doing this for a few months, but they're just so easy to take care of and breed. So yeah, let me get into it. Also, Zoe says hi. She insists on coming over to say hi. So I live in Chicago. Keeping these outdoors is doable in a lot of climates. Here, it's iffy. The top can freeze, but it can't freeze solid. Weather here is crazy. I also don't have a ton of space. Not to get into it, I recently became disabled. So we moved from a place where we might have more space, Rogers Park, north side of Chicago, to Lakeview, which is one of I think it's the densest, like as far as people are concerned in Chicago, it's the densest neighborhood. So yeah, we don't really have space outside. So my rice fish setup is this pot here. I scored this pot on eBay. It was a few $100 for just this really nice, like Chinese style porcelain pot. And I'm kind of growing out a setup here. So I'll flip the camera here and show you. So this is the setup that I have been working with for the past few months. Here's the pot. It's really pretty. It's really cool. I'm really looking forward to just building this out over the next few years. But yeah, getting started, it was as simple as I followed, I think it's Serpa Design's video on how he made a guppy, like indoor, kind of similar style aquarium pot thing. So you'll see that there's a ceramic pot here, and that has all the like aqua soil. And then there's another one it's standing on down there on the bottom. It's probably not really visible. But anyway, so there's a pot upside down and there's a pot right side up. This is the pot right side up, and it has all the aqua soil in it. And then, yeah, I mean, I just filled it with tap, dechlorinator, all that good stuff. And then kind of slowly just let the bacteria and all the microfauna start to set up over time before adding the fish. I had a friend with an aquarium who sent me he had Salvinia minima, these guys, floating plants. So I would highly recommend you can get the bacteria in a bottle, which I did, but frankly, I think this is the best way to go if you can get aquarium water from someone in your area or a friend, or like floating plants. Floating plants is the best way to start this kind of thing. They have access to CO2. They'll take out all the nitrites and nitrates in there. They are one of the best ways to kind of get your little, I know people don't like the word ecosystem, but your little system set up. So that's what I did here. Once the floating plants kind of got established, I got some, my local fish shop here in Chicago, it was Old Town Aquarium, which for some reason is not in Old Town anymore. They had these platinum Medaka, these platinum rice fish. And so I got 3 of them and just kind of, cycled the tank, with fish in, but like minimal feeding and kind of let it get established. And then a few months later, I snagged online on eBay these Miyuki, these like black, bluish Miyuki on eBay. I'll put a card to the listing for these guys. And I got 6 of them. And so we have 9 fish in here total right now. And yeah, just feeding them regularly, making sure, testing for ammonia, nitrates, that kind of stuff. The other thing is there's a couple ram's horns. There's a guy online whose name I'll forget. I can probably flash a card for it. But I got this hornwort over here. Came with 2 ram's horns and some scuds, which scuds are like tiny little crustaceans, like little shrimp-like creatures. And the scuds are really good because the fish can eat. And so the fish, they have that prey drive. You want to get them to, you feed them, I feed them this stuff, which is really good for them. You can grind it up really small, and the powder, the fry can eat too. But it's also really good to just have them be scavenging and picking around for food. So the scuds are really good for that, and also just picking up the spare food that the fish don't eat. So a nice little, again, people don't like the word ecosystem, but a nice little system going on. I wonder if I can catch some of the fry. I've gotten fry just naturally here. Oh, there's one, I don't know if the camera will catch it, but there's one right there, like right there, just swimming around. I hope the camera catches it. But anyway, just right there, little tiny guy. Anyway, I'm just getting fry in here. You know, the females are already just dropping eggs left and right. Medaka are like so easy to breed and keep. So this is my general setup right now. What I have planted here, they didn't quite take well, and I'm gonna try again later, but I got some Pogostemon erectus. It's the name of the plant. Like some of the stems are kind of struggling to survive. They have really pretty flowers, and like I thought it would be a good foreground plant. I might try again later. What I got from my friend, in addition to the Salvinia minima that has been just popping off and surviving everything I throw at it, is this pearlweed. So if you want just a bulletproof plant that will survive whatever you throw at it, pearlweed is your guy. Like you gotta get some pearlweed. That stuff will survive anything. What I have here, this is the second time that I'm trying it, and it is finally taking because it has some roots. I got some stems without roots and it didn't take, but this is dragon's tongue. Beautiful purple, I mean, as you can see, beautiful purple green leaves. I had like on eBay, I got just, you know, a large plant of it. So there's some spare over here, actually next to my little avocado bonsai. So that's more dragon's tongue, you know, just sitting in aqua soil and some water. This plant is a house plant that people keep, you know, not in aquatic situations, but some people use it as an aquarium plant underwater, immersed, like with an I. And you really need CO2 injection for that to work well. But in this immersed, with an E, situation where the roots are underwater, but the leaves are not underwater, is kind of where it does best from what I've read and seen. So yeah, the roots are finally taking. Instead of getting stems without roots, just kind of bare stems that didn't really take well, I got a plant with roots. And it's adapting to the setup. So dragon's tongue, really pretty. Love this guy. The plan is, once these get established, I have some lava rocks that I'm gonna, you know, start the hardscape with. And then I have some mangroves here, little mangrove saplings. And the strongest one, or maybe, you know, a handful of them, I'll kind of put as the centerpiece in this pot. And then long term, also plan is to get maybe like a lily or two in there as well. But yeah, so this is my setup. It's pretty damn easy to keep rice fish, and they're just so cool. There's so many different phenotypes that you can try to breed and play with. And then on the topic of breeding, so you might notice this blue floaty thing. If y'all have seen any other videos of rice fish and Medaka on YouTube, you might have seen these guys, these little breeding mops. It's literally just like a pool noodle floaty with like a fucking what's that called? Like a scouring pad that's cut up. And that's it. The fish will deposit their eggs on there. That's the air stone. Ignore that. You know, so it's really been as simple as just, I got 3 of these again on eBay, like really cheap. You can make them at home if you have a pool noodle that you can cut up, and a scouring pad from like a sponge, or, you know, whatever, the store that you can cut up, like roll on the inside. See how it's rolled on the inside and inserted in there? And that's it. The rice fish will gladly deposit their eggs on there. They'll also deposit it on this hornwort, I've noticed, because that's where most of the fry I've seen are. And any like natural roots you have in there. But anyway, it's as simple as just like moving these noodles out maybe once a week, maybe more often now that it's getting warmer. And I have some fry in there. I don't have a macro lens to catch them really well, but I have some fry in there that are thriving. And they are just running around hunting Daphnia. What I've found that works the best, at least for me right now, and I am by no means an expert, I've only been doing this for a few months, but what works really well for me is I have a little like Daphnia culture over here. And so I'll just every day throw some Daphnia in there. Part of why I'm airing it out too is that Daphnia will multiply with more oxygen. So I'm kind of hoping that like there's like a mini culture in here that did you saw that? That was a fry hunting some Daphnia. But yeah, you can see kind of little dots like bouncing around. Those are the Daphnia. They're like little freshwater crustaceans. They're really interesting creatures. They're in most like freshwater waterways. Yeah, I mean, they're like everywhere on Earth, and fish generally love eating them. You can kind of see the shadow of a fry right there hunting. So yeah, I've found that just in the few months that I've been doing this, having a little Daphnia culture is the best way to feed the fry out. The fry are just like thriving. They're growing real big. There's one guy right there. I wonder, yeah, hunting all the Daphnia right there. This one is one of the bigger ones, one of the ones that's been doing the best. So this is a good way to get them to encourage their prey drive. And then once you get them in your more natural pond setup, they can scavenge, they can learn to have scavenged by the time that they're adolescents and go into the, the big kid environment. I guess, here, hold on, let me position myself a little better. I was gonna say, I guess I should talk about my Daphnia setup just so people can get an idea. You can buy Daphnia eggs, on like Amazon or whatever. I think moina is another word for these particular kind of Daphnia, these little guys. This is one of the smaller breeds. It is really hard to see through all the algae and like gunk in there. There's a ton of algae, but you can see them kind of jumping around on the bottom there. But it really is as simple as taking some like aquarium water from the water change, putting it into a container, whatever container you want. I just grabbed one, and some floating plants just for posterity's sake to help clean up the water and waste. And yeah, it's literally, you just put the eggs in there, they'll hatch out, you'll start seeing these guys jump around. They eat all the algae in there. But also what I feed them, what folks have fed them online, this jar over here has some bread yeast that's dried out, and I literally just add some water to it, in the morning or whenever I feed them, once a day, if that, maybe once every other day. And I take that little dropper, and once some of the yeast has kind of incorporated into the water, I'll put just like half a dropper full into, this container's not that big. You don't want to overfeed them. Underfeeding them is actually better. And I mean, that's it. It's literally just baker's yeast, which is the cheapest thing in the world at the, your local grocery store, and water. Some people do spirulina powder with it as well. That's probably better to have both. A little more of a quote unquote complete diet, but there's already algae in here anyway. So I'm kind of on the fence about that one. But that's all you need for a good Daphnia culture. And also the adult fish love to eat them as well. You can take a dropper full, or even if you have a bigger container like a turkey baster full, and throw them in there, and they gobble them up. They love them. So yeah, this is my setup. Ain't much to it. Yeah, so that's it. That's an overview of my setup here. I can go into detail probably a little more about certain aspects of it, whether it's the breeding part or just the Medaka, the rice fish themselves, or the Daphnia bit. If y'all have any interest in hearing more about that, I'd gladly do a quick little video. So yeah, a little casual vlog for you guys. Hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned something. I hope it was entertaining. Yeah, peace. Nos vemos.